This week, we're circling back on Ubisoft and discussing some new old games again. This is the Good Game, Bad Game podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Good Game, Bad Game podcast. I'm your host, Spencer. With me is a man who's ready to get hurt all over again with The Last of Us Season 2 premiering. It's my co-host, Mike. Mike, are you ready?
Chicken jockey.
No. Hang on.
I expected it to be a chicken jockey reference. I'm sorry.
You think too little of me.
I also may have completely forgotten that Season 2 came out.
I just started on Sunday, and Shelby and I saw the ad for it where it was like, new episode. And we were like, what? That was this week?
Yeah, apparently. I thought it was coming out like May. Sorry, I had to check my calendar to make sure it wasn't May.
Nope, we're still in April.
Okay.
Well, that's all right. You got plenty of time. Also,
I can't believe it's been 2 years.
Right? It doesn't feel like it.
No.
Well, I mean, it's not a spoiler at all because, you you obviously played the game, but they really it feels like aged Pedro Pascal, or he's playing, the time gap really well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah. First episode was really good. And I'm just excited to get more of it. And to see like what liberties they take,
Are they gonna rip let me rephrase. Did they rip the Band-Aid off in the first episode?
No. My guess was that it was gonna be episode 2, but now I'm thinking it's gonna be even further. I think they're gonna rework the like time leaps and stuff that they do, from how they did it in the game, which I do think makes sense.
I agree. Like that played well. I just not sure how it would be on TV.
Yeah. I think it would work for sure, but yeah, I don't hate them altering it a little. Especially for today's audience, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
These people. Also, real quick, just going back to the little chicken jockey thing, would it surprise you to hear that has been like the most annoying thing to me? And it's just anytime I see it, I'm just like, put me out of my misery. I'm so sick of this. So yeah, I'm not going to give it any more power than it already has over me.
No, that's fine. It's crazy. Like, I thought this like Minecraft movie was going to be a flop. So like the previews, it looked like weird and terrible.
Yeah, I thought it looked like dog shit.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, I'm not even gonna waste my time with it. And then like I've started seeing more and more clips of the movie. I'm like, okay, I could consider it, but now I'm not gonna go to a theater for it.
No, hell no. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm now less inclined to go see it than I already was, which was, again, on a 100-point scale, I was already a 1, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm a 0. I'm breaking the scale. And simply because like it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not going to let you fool me into thinking this is good, and then I go and it is still dog shit like I originally assumed, because that nothing would piss me off more than that. Like I would rather watch it at home and end up being pleasantly surprised than take my chances rolling the dice going to the theater and having my bias confirmed. Like let's not play games like that.
Yeah, I figured I was just gonna wait until it came to Game Pass
Do they
and
put
then check
movies
it
on
out.
Game Pass? Is that?
Not yet.
Oh, yeah. I guess there's. I guess if there ever was going to be one, this would be the one, huh?
Yeah, you would think, right? Man, not even like a so Game Pass does like perks
Mm-hmm.
you can get. And I was like, oh, maybe they would do like 2 tickets to the Minecraft movie if you have Ultimate. Nope. That's fine.
Yeah,
That's okay.
because they don't want to put you in imminent danger. They're actually doing you a
Yeah,
favor.
and I ended up suing them because I got a bucket of water dumped on me or something.
Yeah.
We are living the movie Idiocracy at this point.
Oh, brother.
I remember watching that movie as a kid and saying, "This is crazy! Like this is such parody, such satire.
This could never happen.
We could never get this stupid as a society."
Yeah.
Lo and behold,
Yeah.
we're bringing chickens to a movie, so here we are.
Yeah. Society really said, "Hold my beer.
Yeah. Yep.
Hold my PBR." Tell me about the games you played.
Well, I haven't been playing Sunshine. I just want to get that out of the way right away.
It's good. It's a good like temperature check.
I'm gonna update every week.
Yeah, I think that's.
Every week. I'm
I
gonna
think
say
that's.
it out loud.
I think it helps us like keep our eye on it too. Because
Yeah.
I think Luigi's Mansion we goofed and whatnot and did bring it up occasionally, but then we both scrambled at the end. So maybe this will help us stay on track.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or at least just openly admit that we're terrible procrastinators.
Complete degenerates. Yep. So I haven't been playing that. I've been playing a ton of Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, nice.
And by saying I'm playing a ton, I'm not getting far, but I'm playing it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to like 100% the game, but I still don't really know where I'm going yet at this point in the game.
Okay.
Like I get the guiding wind thing is cool, but I'm still constantly finding myself like going to my map and trying to see where I need to go for missions and such.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I'll get used to it. I just don't know the map yet. Because so far everything's been pretty centralized.
Yeah.
But it's a fun game. It's like the right level of complication too. Like I started learning more stances. I don't know if you remember that from playing it.
Yes.
And I was like, this seems like it's too much. But it's not. So far it's fine. I only have 2 stances unlocked, but
yeah, I feel like it's pretty it's as seamless as that can be.
Yeah, sure. But I've been really enjoying that game.
It's a good game.
A lot of fun. Great story.
It's a very good game. It's also one of those games, and I know you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I say this, where there is a lot of other like stuff happening like on the map and everything like that like you can take your time going through those types of things. You can kind of just exist and move about the world and come across stuff naturally. And then, you can make the decision to like start like diving more into the story. And then like you can still just like rip through the story. Like it's not one of those games where you put like 80 hours into it. And then on top of that, there's also an 80-hour story or something crazy like that, right? Like it does just strike this like perfect balance that I think, I mean, not to like toot the Sony horn, but like I think Spider-Man is like that a lot. I think
Yeah.
the 2018 God of War. I haven't played Ragnarok yet, but I feel like the new God of War game was like that in a lot of ways. It's just this like really perfect balance that some games strike so well, and I love it.
Yeah, it's almost like a freedom of choice illusion. Like things are kind of set up to be like side stories, but they actually all kind of pertain to the main story. Is
Mm-hmm.
is kind of my perception, and I think that's how Spider-Man was. Um, and it also like kind of reminds me of Ghost Recon, like the newer games where there's like I this isn't like a one-to-one match, but like it's kind of like the crime boss thing. Like there's four, like in the very beginning, there's four like you have to meet like four different people,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to do like 9 missions for them.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of reminds me of that, which like you don't necessarily have to do all 9 for one person at once.
Right.
In some instances, it probably makes sense to do that, but so it's nice. Like if you need like, I'm assuming they're going to play different. Like the one right now I'm doing is very archery heavy. And I'm assuming like kind of as I go to these different ones, the play style is going to be different.
Right.
But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I kind of just like I kind of wish I could just sit down for an entire day and play it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'll get to that point. But yeah, a lot of fun. And then the only other game I think I've played this week is actually just because of last night. We were playing new, well, the new redone Donkey Kong game.
Okay.
I forget what it's called, but it was the one for the Wii that they like that just came out on the Switch in January.
Is it Donkey Kong Country Returns? Re Gorilla, re Kong, you know, I don't know.
I have no idea. I think it's just Returns,
Oh, okay.
but I don't know.
I didn't know if they added, like, you know how like they'll say like repacked, or like, you know, they like add like a goofy way of saying remastered onto some of these games. Because I think Donkey Kong Country Returns is what it was called, or maybe it was just called Donkey Kong
HD.
Country. Oh, okay,
Now it's Donkey Kong Country Returns HD now.
gotcha. Nice. How's that?
um, it's fun. Uh, Justine's mostly been playing it. Uh, she liked Tropical Freeze more.
Okay.
Um,
Which
but yeah, we're having fun with it.
Tropical Freeze is the one that was on the Switch. That was like, it's technically the newest Donkey Kong.
That one was on the Wii U first.
Oh, one of those.
That was a remake. Yeah, so there hasn't been like a new Donkey Kong generation.
Gotcha. Wow, that's actually kind of crazy.
Yeah. So maybe that'll be a Switch 2. They'll finally get to a new. I don't think there's any more to remake, so
Right. Is speaking of Donkey Kong and now Switch 2, is Justine excited for that new Donkey Kong? Like,
not in the least.
gotcha.
Yeah. Not her style.
Yeah. Yep. That tracks.
Yeah. Which is good to know. Uh I kind of assumed she wasn't gonna like it, but part of me was kind of hoping she would. Um yeah, so we played a little bit of that. She I forget what day it was. Some day this weekend she played a ton of it, and I was just sleeping all night. But she got to this level, and there was one of these in Tropical Freeze too that I had to do for her. That it's basically like Flappy Bird.
Okay. Yeah.
Like you get on like a rocket. And I still got that. Like Frank's have been practicing on my iPod 4 that's sitting right in front of me.
Hell yeah, brother.
But I got to do that level for her last night. So that's my obligatory Donkey Kong Country level that I do for her every time.
I was gonna say, it's great to feel useful, huh?
Yeah, that's kind of what she said to me after I beat it.
Oh man.
Good
Nice.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, similar to you, I can report back that I have not started Red Dead Redemption. I had
You
much
get the Golden Glove yet?
Golden Glove. No, I've not gotten the Golden
Gold
Glove.
Glove?
No, no Gold Glove. Have I told you that in this year's edition of MLB, they So, you know, Diamond Dynasty, the like online like card collecting mode.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they added you have like stats tied to your profile. You can see like how many home runs you've hit, how many just hits, runs. You can see all that, right? So like you have that on your profile. And so they added a like program in the game that is basically like lifetime counting stats. And so if you hit like I think the final threshold for home runs is like 1,000 home runs. You get like an emblem all throughout. So like your first 50 gives you a silver emblem that says 50 home runs. And you can like make that your profile icon. And that's really it. Like that's all there is to it. It doesn't actually give you necessarily like this like competitive leg up. It doesn't give you like a ton of packs or anything like that, which would be kind of nice. It doesn't give you in-game currency, anything like that. It's literally just purely for showing off. But if you get to the final threshold of all of them, there's like an actual like player item tied to most of them. So I think if you hit 1,000 home runs, I think is the final threshold, you get like a jersey that your team can wear, and it's like it says like moonshot or something like that on the jerseys, and then a lot of them are like bats. So like if you level up characters, you the final level is P5, parallel 5, and there's a bat for accumulating like 500,000, I think, PXP across all players. And the bat looks like an aluminum bat with like the Roman numeral V on it, which like it just looks cool, right? It's just that's all it is. If you collect all of those items that are tied to each like counting stat, walks, hits, runs, there's 12 items in total. If you collect all 12 of them, you get a jersey that says touch grass.
Yeah.
So that's
a game reference.
That's my golden glove I'm chasing, if you will. I have 3 of the items, I think.
Do they like mail it to you in person?
No, it's just for you to use in game. That would be
Feels
sick.
like a missed opportunity.
A hat that says touch grass would be kind of cool. With like the
or even just like a piece of turf.
MLB that would be really funny.
Just comes from an unlabeled box.
Oh man, that would be good. But yeah, that's like my golden egg, my golden goose that I'm chasing. But yeah. So you nailed it. I've been playing a lot of MLB.
I hate to say this. I really don't want to advocate for a problem, but I'm really rooting for you here.
Thanks.
I want to see you get that jersey.
Yeah, I want to see me get it too. There's also this is just like something that does not matter, but there's another program in the game that's like, it's team affinity. So if you use players from specific teams and you accrue stats there, you get program points. And like throughout the year, they're going to be releasing players, but they dropped the entire program now. So like you can earn the voucher for like a team's all-star that will drop during all-star break. And then at the end of the year, they always do finest, which is just like fan favorite or something like that from each team. And so you can collect that voucher already too. I have already collected that voucher, both of those vouchers for the Cardinals. So I already have the Cardinals team affinity stuff all complete, for the year. But they like went a step further. And if you accrue the home runs, RBIs, and hits total that the like all-time team leader has accrued, like using that team specific player. So if I think it's like Stan Musial had like 3,500 hits or something like that. If I accrue 3,500 hits with Cardinals players, I earn like so many program points. If you do all 3 of those, you get like an emblem that says like #1 fan. And that it hasn't been discovered in the game yet. So nobody has earned enough points to get that yet in the game. And in the back of my head, I'm like, I want to be the first person to get that.
If you get that for the Cardinals, is it just like the fan?
What do you mean?
Understanding baseball fandom this year? I don't know. I keep getting fed this image of the Cardinals stadium with like 5 people in it.
Yeah, I would officially be one of I'd be one of like 12.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, brutal showing for the Redbirds. But anyway, that's my
Hey, at
baseball
least you're
update.
not shit, who is it? The Reds? Is there something I think I saw something that like I think it was the Reds that for the first time or the first time in since 1960s there was more players than fans.
Oh my god.
I think it was for the Reds.
That's crazy.
No,
Reds
no,
are
no. Sorry, it was for Cleveland.
That's crazy. Those are both like exciting teams. Well, I guess define exciting.
Yeah, it's about as exciting as Ohio can get.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. Only other thing is the only other thing was Shelby and I have played more Ocarina, which has been a lot of fun. Um, Spoiler for an old game, but we became adult Link.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
happens in that game.
yeah. So that was
That was like a
crazy.
big deal.
Yeah, it was a big deal for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're having a lot of fun with that still. And like it finally feels like we're getting the hang of it to some degree, or at least I feel like I am. But yeah, all right.
I just remember jumping in that game being an absolute nightmare.
Oh, jumping is a nightmare because there's no button to jump.
Yep, you just kind of do it and hope that the game, you and the game were on the same page.
Hey, you run to an edge.
Yep.
Oh, you weren't looking that way? Good luck getting back up there, motherfucker.
You weren't looking that way, but also there's no stick to look that way.
Yeah, they had fun with that.
Yeah, they certainly did. That was one of those games you had to like hold the Z, use the analog stick to change the camera, right? Yep.
Yep.
I remember fondly.
Yes, sir. All right, let's get into the news, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
So past 2 weeks, you and I have talked about the Nintendo Switch and all the news that's been coming out about the Switch 2, and as we get more details and stuff like that. And something that got a little bit buried for us was the fact that right before we talked about the Switch, we talked about the notion that Ubisoft might be selling off some of its IP or could be potentially looking for a buyout, something that's kind of been ongoing for a while now. And it had like come back up. Well, I think this article I'm seeing is from March 27th. So that would track that the day that our episode came out, news broke that Ubisoft was basically creating a carve out and Tencent was investing roughly 25% stake in that. And the carve out is for, Ubisoft's biggest games, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. I don't know if there's more in there or not. I think it's just those. So interesting that this came off the heels of us kind of doing a little bit, putting on our best speculation hats and thinking about like what could potentially happen. I believe you brought up Tencent.
Did I?
As like a logical
Oh, to buy these.
I
Yeah,
think to like buy any really Ubisoft IP. I think what's surprising is that I feel like we were probably in the zone of like these would be the ones that are off limits. And to be clear, Tencent didn't buy these IPs. Again, they bought 25% stake in a subsidiary that features these IPs. So it's like a weird little dance around. But it is
Well,
funny
yeah, you
that
can't go crying antitrust. So
right. It's just really funny that we're kind of like these would be the ones that are off limits, but no, these are the ones that are the focal point, but they are still off limits. But they are also getting help from Tencent. What a hodgepodge of like yes, but technically no, but technically yes.
yeah,
um, it is also interesting because Tencent does already have stake in Ubisoft, in general. Um, so I don't know how that works in all of it. But they already have a 10% stake in Ubisoft, so I don't know how subsidiaries and company spin-offs and things like that.
yeah. I mean, it can be its own. Tencent can spin off its own legal entity
Yeah.
that, like, kind of like you said, the weird dance of it is Tencent, but technically it's not. And that company that has no stake in Ubisoft can get some of these properties. Now, what I don't know is, I mean, it's a minority stake, so I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. But like, what's the legality of Tencent saying, "Yeah, we should definitely sell Rainbow Six to this new company that's certainly owned by us but isn't us"? I don't know what that looks like.
Right. Yeah. Just interesting. Something to definitely keep an eye on, but this basically, aligns with the the old uh keeping our options open uh that Ubisoft has had for some time, in terms of what they are going to do as a business going forward, and if they would entertain any sort of buyout and everything like that. So we'll also see what this means for any sort of growth for these franchises, but I don't I don't really see that. Like, I if anything, I feel like Ubisoft just needs to be like scorched earth, rebuild, sort of situation. Like, as things stand, I really don't think anything's going to improve that much for any of these franchises. Like, it's great that Assassin's Creed Shadows is having like a pretty good moment, or was having a pretty good moment upon release, but like, is that really enough to move people on kind of the lackluster library and quality that Ubisoft has been providing? I don't know.
I'm trying to. Sorry, I'm kind of half paying attention, half not. So sorry if this is a complete non sequitur. But yesterday, I think it was yesterday. Uh, Prince of Persia: Lost Crown. Oh no, this apparently it was announced for mobile 2 weeks ago, but I think it came out yesterday. And which is interesting because that team is one of the ones that got dissolved, the one that made that game.
Yep.
So this was outsourced to their Vietnam team, which, and this is just proximity bias probably, but I was wondering if that was one of the ones that had some Tencent influence, because I think they mostly just do mobile games. Um, but like that kind of thing where they bring a Lost Crown. I mean, I don't know if I'd call it a triple A game, but Prince of Persia is a big IP.
Yeah, certainly.
Um, to come to mobile, and with Tencent's history in mobile, I think it's a match made in heaven. I mean, even if you're Tencent, you say, okay, we're going to bring, well, one, we're going to get the Division game that has been out in purgatory for 3 years. We're going to get that home, and we're going to figure out all the microtransactions for that and make some money off that. um, that'd be good. But then also, like, what else can you do to start porting stuff to mobile? Like, can you get the old Assassin's Creed to mobile? Can you, uh, make Rayman like a mobile specific IP now?
Yeah. But will I'm trying to think of how I want to say this. Will these be like value adds, like a feather in the cap of Ubisoft, or is it just going to be shit?
I'm sure it's gonna be shit. I think Ubisoft's just trying to make money and stay afloat at this point. I mean, they've made it abundantly clear that they don't give a shit about games anymore.
Yeah. Because that's where I net out, right? Where it's like, I'm all for trying new things. I'm all for, bringing games to a different audience and stuff like that. Great. Perfect. But when it's done in the most like hand wavy, lazy manner, it's just like there's no other way for me to read this than you want to make a quick buck off of us, which is already the case regardless of how good or bad the quality is. And yeah, it's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah, no, Ubisoft has decided that there's no demand for these games, namely Splinter Cell,
Yep.
and they just want to offload and try to make one more dollar off of it. And frankly, if that's the fate of these games, then I hope it happens.
Yeah.
They'll retire their jersey with another team.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, that's what I find so interesting is that they spin off a subsidiary of just Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six. And they get, this like injection from Tencent that is 25% of the value of these three franchises, valued at give or take 4 billion, right? So Tencent is giving, 1.3, again, just using rough numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And it again is like one of those things where it's like almost counter to what we were saying, where it's just like, instead of doing that, what if that was all you became and you just sold off the other side? Like now you're just holding on to these other things that you're kind of, by making this move, showing that you no longer care about those, which again is what we've already kind of known. And it's just like, so just, yeah, like you said, go retire the jersey with another team. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I really wish they would just divest from Ubisoft as it was. I don't care that they spun these other IPs into a new company. I really don't. It is what it is. Um, I think they need to basically kill Ubisoft and say, we're either going to start this new company just for the sake of getting it absorbed,
Mm-hmm.
or yeah, like we're just going to sell these. We're going to piecemeal these IPs. I honestly do like hope that there's a lot of conversation going on. So like we can see some IPs going to Xbox, some IPs going to PlayStation, some to Nintendo, some to
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Like I don't think I have my opinions on Tencent, but I don't think them getting some of these IPs is necessarily bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the best thing, but it's not a bad thing either. If it means that they're gonna keep making meaningful entries into the series, that I think is the big question mark. But
Right. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, it doesn't move the needle for me.
no,
Really one way or the other, but
no.
um
The only thing I can hope for is that like the Tom Clancy series gets, other than Rainbow Six, I guess, gets spun off somewhere. I really hope Watch Dogs gets spun off somewhere.
yeah.
I don't know that we're gonna get another Watch Dogs, but I would like one.
Yeah, man. Watch Dogs is Did people like Legion?
I don't think so.
I know we did.
Yeah, I loved it. I played the shit out of that game.
I thought it was such like a fun, just like, it was just, it was different, right? Like it wasn't just
Yeah, it
like,
felt like what Watch Dogs should be.
yeah. Oh, well, actually I think Watch Dogs 2 is the best.
I
It
agree
felt,
with that, but
but I think Watch Dogs Legion was like a fun concept and idea, and honestly was executed fairly well too, in my opinion.
I agree.
Um The first Watch Dogs is the like worst use of what Watch Dogs should be.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's make a dark, gritty story. Or what if we're fun hacker people in San Fran? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and that's more realistic.
Right.
You know, I don't think the hacking like dark Batman vigilante exists, but hacker groups in San Francisco certainly do. You know,
Right.
in a um, I don't know if it's quite the right nomenclature to use, but like in a post-apocalyptic London, I mean that like locally, not necessarily like world apocalyptic, but
Yeah.
there was major terrorist attack, and there are regimes, you know, coming in to take power. Like it's the modern version of an uprising.
Yeah.
So that's I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I thought it was great. Watch Dogs has like such promise as like an overall, it always has, like even since the first one has always had like a ton of promise in terms of concept and everything like that. So it really sucked to see that just like
And
gone with the wind.
and there and there's so much potential too, but I think this would entirely seeing like Ubisoft being in bed with Tencent, this would be like this IP needs to go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But like think of what you could do like if you wanted to keep the Legion model, like you put all this work into like having all like that you can recruit any character. Like
Mm-hmm.
that had to take a ton of work. There's a lot of NPCs in that game, and then to make them playable, give them personalities, give them traits, things like that. Like if you want to stick with that for a while, like make a game in Hong Kong, make a game in Russia. Um, you know, I think you could pretty much like copy and paste, and I'm not like advocating they make this the game forever, but I think at least for the sake of keeping the series alive, like do what you did with Legion in other like how do I put it? Authoritarian areas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think you got a game there.
Yeah.
Authoritarian areas with a lot of technology.
Right.
I think it would be kind of cool.
I mean, definitely. Yeah. Basically, it's we're still in a holding pattern though with Ubisoft. It's like all we can really do is wait and see what they decide to do, and kind of hope they make the right decisions,
Yeah.
which sucks. But what doesn't suck, Michael, is when old games are made new again. Wouldn't you agree?
Depends.
What if I told you Skyrim 4 is back out there and a thing again?
I'm sure people are very excited about that.
Well, actually, I regret to inform you, people are very mad about that, but they are very excited that Elder Scrolls 4 is back out there. That's a joke about how people call Elder Scrolls games Skyrim, just because Skyrim, I guess, was the one that became most well known. So when people
Mhm.
called anyway,
But then everyone says Oblivion better just to be edgy and
yeah. Well, Oblivion better get a remaster and is what?
in VR?
I don't know if there's gonna be VR,
Probably not.
but kind of big news. Oblivion is getting a remaster, which is an important thing to say. And I find it just like kind of interesting because it visually looks, very improved. Apparently, a lot of the mechanics in terms of like how the archery works and I guess just like general like movement and stuff like that is going to be much more modernized, which is obviously good because this game is now, oh my god, Skyrim came out in what, 20, no, No. When did Skyrim come out? 2010?
That sounds right.
So you figure Oblivion was 5 years earlier, 3 years earlier? I don't know. Timing for games was a little bit quicker then. But this is a remaster, not a remake. So it's not ground up, rebuilt completely. But they are overhauling a lot of things. And it's kind of like we're kind of entering this like new era of remaster, because you got the Metroid Prime remaster too, you'll remember. And a lot of people are like, this is basically a remake.
Right.
And I think this might become my like new favorite thing, are these types of remasters, because you're taking something that is obviously so behind in terms of modern games. Just I think last week we were talking about how I used to fall asleep during the loading screens of Skyrim. And so Oblivion, even older than that, and this massive game, and I'm sure it also struggled to run in many ways, just because it was ambitious and everything. And there's been such like a modern clamoring for it to be brought forward. Skyrim has been put on everything, literally any device that you can play a game on. In some cases, it's been put on your Amazon, Echo or whatever the hell the smart device is called. Just insane that it's like kind of taken them as long as it has, but also like I think just like a good time to do it. What's old is new has been kind of the current theme, and there have been a lot of like head scratchers, I think, but man, there have been also so many where it's like, yes, this is the perfect game to finally bring forward for this modern audience to play, for people to get to experience what was like a peak experience at the time. And now it's like, just think about what that would be like on current hardware and stuff like that, right? And so I'm pretty excited for it. It looks really good from the visuals that we've seen. And yeah, I the only thing I guess I wonder is how much does the work that's being done on this hurt the sweeping shot of a landscape, and then coming soon Elder Scrolls 6 from 8 years ago. Like where does that put that timeline? But
I
yeah.
I kind of genuinely believe this is just a remaster, like just enough to get it onto the new generation. Like I don't think it's going to play like a new game. I really don't. Because of that.
I mean, hang on, I'm going to try and oh my god, my phone is breaking. I just want to try and send you this photo so you can kind of see. Like, I feel like it is going to play. I guess it's still. Oh my god. I guess it's still going to play, to your point, like probably somewhat janky, but so this came out in
Yeah.
2006. So this is going on 20 years. I mean,
True.
it's definitely a very nice visual improvement. Like
Yeah.
plain and simple. But I hear you at the same time. Like, but where I net out is like, this is good. Like, this is promising. This is, we care to some degree. I look at the GTA trilogy remaster that came out 2 years ago or whatever, and that's like dog shit. We don't care to any degree. Give us money.
Yeah. The
It's
best thing they
like,
did with that was change the control scheme.
right. And don't get me wrong, like I played Vice City and it was great and I had a blast with it, but like I also have it for PS2 and I'm willing to bet I could plug in my PS2 and play it and go, this is the same game,
Yeah.
like there is almost nothing different.
Yeah.
This does not scream that, because at the very least the visuals are like that much better, and I mean I think that's already like a pretty big step. Um, but yeah, I mean, again, I think this is like this like pseudo remaster, or pseudo remake. I guess I don't know
Yeah.
which
I
direction
so
that goes.
I hadn't seen these screenshots. I mean, this is. I mean, it's substantial. I
It's
mean, it's
impressive.
like they must have redone the character models and new texture packs and things like that. Like it is impressive. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised with it. But yeah, I mean, seeing this level of work, you know, does make me a little concerned. Um, I imagine. I don't know what the team breakdown is like. I imagine it's a separate team that
Hmm.
now that they're going to be done with this project, they'll just kind of get onloaded onto the new Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah, yeah. I was mostly saying that in jest to some degree. But I mean, yeah, that no matter what, like people did have to work on this, and you know, there clearly was a good bit of work put into it.
Yeah,
There's definitely attention to detail and everything like that. That you can't just like hand wave away and say like they just copy and pasted. Obviously, to some degree, yes, they I'm sure copy and pasted certain things, but
sure.
or to whatever degree you can do that within making a game. I'm not going to try and sit here and act like I understand, but yeah, I mean, I think again, this like somewhere in between remake remaster that we get is like really cool. When I heard they were making an Oblivion remaster, or that there were rumors for weeks now that this was going to be a thing. And when I kept hearing about it, I was just like, this is going to be shit. This is going to be bad. This is going to just be them bringing it forward, which is on one hand still a I would say net positive when you get a game that's almost 20 years old and you're finding a way. Like how else are you going to play this unless you have a PC that runs well enough? The only way for you to play this is to go get a PS3, and like that's not feasible for people necessarily. So finding a way to get it onto like the PS5 and the Xbox Series is already like at least some sort of positive, but otherwise it's just like whatever. But actually seeing the images and stuff like that, it's like it's more than just like yeah, at least the modern audience gets to play it. It's like no, there's a real effort here, and this also makes me excited because apparently Fallout 3, there's rumors of a remaster there, and again, it kind of helps you like get the right idea of what remaster means. We always fall
Hmm.
into this weird remaster, remake, and stuff like that, and again, I'm much more of a fan of this being what a remaster means.
Yeah, I agree. I would I'd be happy to see some Fallout remasters. I haven't played 3 or New Vegas. And it's my understanding that like they actually the 360 versions actually play pretty well on the Series X.
Okay.
So that's always been tempting, but yeah, it's we're like we said with Oblivion, like we're getting the 20 years on these games.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's only so much local upscaling that can be done.
Right.
You know, the load times are still going to be atrocious.
Right. Especially comparatively to modern games, which again we've been like coddled now at this point. Like
Yeah.
we have it too good. um yeah, I mean like it's so funny because as much as I want to like hate that everything's everything's just a remake or everything's just a sequel and it all sucks, and like as much as I want to be that grumpy person when it comes to media, these are the ones though where I'm like, but this is good. Like this I'm okay
Sure.
with, It's like, and yeah, I sit here and I kind of um I try to rack my brain a little bit when it comes to some like older games and like older experiences where it's just like, I know I missed out on this then. And so I would be all for, 25 years on now, uh, to see it like given a shot to like land with like a modern audience. We have all these
Yeah.
like peak experiences that people talk about, and it's just like, but how many people were playing the game back in 2006? And then you think about the fact that like all those people who played it then are probably going to come back around for it, rightfully so. And then again, you hit people who only just got Skyrim on their Switch and are like, I guess this is cool. And it's just like, yeah, but you have no idea, man. You have no idea what we had to go through to even get here. um, yeah. Any other thoughts on the Oblivion Remaster? Is there a game that you can think of off the top of your head? This is like a put you on the spot type of question that you can think of from like give or take 2006, early 2000s, that you would love to see get this treatment, or that you think needs to get this treatment?
I'm trying to think of a game that hasn't already gotten this treatment.
Right, like that or like hasn't already gotten it back in like 2013 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like got
Yeah,
that
that's
like
hard.
got that like barely a decade has passed, and we just give it kind of a fresh coat of paint. You're right.
Looking at my looking at my shelf.
There probably aren't too many that have been missed. So honestly, for it to be again pushing 20 years is kind of crazy. I mean, think about like Final Fantasy VII and how they're doing the remake for that, right? And it's like a totally different game, and they're telling the story in a totally different way. So this is maybe a cop out answer. I would love to see them do that with like Chrono Trigger, like completely rebuild this and like kind of completely chemically alter what the game even is. But at its core, it still is, Chrono Trigger. I would, having just played that and like really getting to revel in the experience that was, I would go for something like that where you could like you could really change and like take some like liberties there and make something cool.
Yeah, I don't really know. There's part of me that's like I don't actually want this just because I don't care about the franchise anymore. A game like Battlefield Bad Company 2. Like even the story mode in that was good. Like don't necessarily bring back the online servers, but like
Yeah.
the story for that was good.
Yeah. And
No, I've got it. I've got it.
Okay.
And this won't happen either. Far Cry 2.
There you go. Yeah.
That's a game that I would love to like have a little bit modernized and replay because that game was so good.
And it was like the jump from 2 to 3 was like a pretty stark difference in terms of like
Totally different games.
right, like just like barely recognizable that it's like a part of the same franchise outside of the name, right? I didn't play 2 that
Yeah,
much.
I mean,
So
I feel like Far Cry 2. I thought you did. You at least started it, right?
I definitely started it, yeah. But
I feel like Far Cry 2 was less like story driven and literally just more survival.
yeah, it's kind of the vibe I got.
Yeah, I'm sure people will love taking their malaria shots and unjamming their gun. And people will love those mechanics in 2025.
No, they won't take they won't take their malaria shots.
Yeah, true. They just
these
completely get rid of them from the game.
these things have a way of working themselves out.
Far Cry 2. I don't know how to phrase this. Never mind.
Far Cry 2 Electric Boogaloo?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going for.
Yeah, I feel like
Far Cry
3.
2 Own Research Edition.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I think when you would get to like those camps where you could save your game, because I don't think that was like an auto saving game. I think you literally had to go get to a save like a computer terminal.
Yeah.
You can choose to Yahoo, just given the time and the demographic. Yahoo, how to treat malaria holistically instead of taking the malaria shots.
Just drink some water without fluoride.
Make a game mode where you have to kill all the gay frogs. Anyway, this is not going in the right direction.
Anyway. All right. Well, that'll do it for this week's episode. As always, thank you all so much for listening. If you could leave us a rating or a review wherever you listen to the podcast, that would be greatly appreciated. You can head over to YouTube, to our channel over there, and in the comments you can let us know your thoughts on Ubisoft's spinning off their 3 IPs that they care about into a new subsidiary, or let us know what you think of the Oblivion Remaster. Is there a game from 2006 that you're shaking your fist at the cloud saying, why Oblivion, why not this? Let us know what that game is. And other than that, if you could share the podcast with a friend, that would be appreciated, and we will talk to you next week.